You're listening to the All Night Society, an actual play podcast brought to you by Queen's Court Games.
Well, this probably isn't the way that you wanted the night to go, for so many reasons. I mean, God, I don't know. Do you want to list them for me?
Are you talking about the fire, or Schmendrick getting kidnapped, or... Oh gosh, there was something else, right?
I'm definitely missing half my face.
Oh, right, that too.
I would really like that back.
Let's not hog all of them. Alex, you're pretty new to this, but I think you can still tell ordinary Vampire Knight from less ordinary.
I mean, it's not every day you get to German suplex a stranger and then kill them with a pair of high heels. Oh, I legit committed a murder, guys. I don't know how I feel about that, but that was so fun.
In fairness, I wouldn't worry about it. He was already dead.
Also, you've committed like 2 other murders since becoming a vampire, so...
Yeah, but not since becoming this heroic figure. I have to have a good rap sheet for, like, you know, when I become friends with the commissioner.
Who do you think the commissioner is in this situation?
I think he legitimately means the commissioner of the city. Like, he thinks he's
shit.
Batman.
I'm trying to fit the part. I don't know. But that was still so cool.
Can I express profound disappointment in the fact that I am 0-2 on shoes right now? 0-4, technically.
Yeah, you are starting to develop a pattern of behavior, aren't you?
Listen, I didn't choose to stab anyone this time.
Congratulations. What's the reaction you want from me here?
I want a head pet.
I'll pat you. Pet. Your shoes made wonderful daggers.
Anastasia, I cannot help but feel like they're missing something here. Something that happened tonight that was outside of the ordinary. Can you help us out?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm the most important thing that happened tonight.
I'm missing half my face.
No need to rank order these things in by level of importance. So I do think we captured all the big ones there. Burning building, dead vampires, Maya making it out intact enough to walk out. It could have been worse. Schmendrick missing.
Maya's face interrupting my entrance.
You hate to see it. Which means, once again, as is typical for this coterie, we have found ourselves walking into a night with one plan and then having to improvise a new one about halfway through.
Thank God we are masters of improv.
It's worked every time so far, I'm pretty sure, yeah? So, let us deal with these as they have arisen. First order of business, being near burning buildings is bad for most vampires. It would be like 3 burning buildings for Ivy at this point, 4 if we're going to talk about the other place, which we said we wouldn't do, but I'm just saying. Maya, it's your second.
That you know of.
Totally fair, but all the same, probably don't want to be around one. There's a Schmendrick problem to get at the bottom of. Annika has more information about it, but right now she's concerned about her own life and livelihood. And on top of all of this, the alleged child of Jason Newberry has arrived with more to say. I'm going to go off on a limb and say that the 3 of you who started the evening together are reacting to this in wildly different ways. I would like to hear from you in the order of, most interesting? That's why we're going to start with Alex.
I don't know, man. I just got here. Who's Jason Newberry? He's a vampire? He's a milk raven? What? Again, I don't know anything that's going on, and the fact that, vampire mommy and vampire auntie are very upset was kind of genuinely worries me.
Honestly, I'm surprised you can muster those kind of thoughts. I would imagine you're still under the thrall of the violence and the, well, beating heart is not so accurate, but did you really come down from the glorious heights of having bested another creature in mortal combat so quickly?
Oh, make no mistake, I'm still playing it in my head like a highlight reel. The 2 arms around the waist, the strength in my legs, the arch of my back, the sickening sound of his skull crack and splatter on that ground while I go to work with 2 high-heeled shoes. The ingenuity of that is basically poetry, and the domination of a lesser being was enthralling. But at the same time, this is also present in my brain. And now I'm living in this kind of unusual gradient between glory and confusion.
Yeah, I don't think that goes away. I think that's a pretty standard kind of vampire existence.
Oh, good. So it's like a Friday night at the bar. Every day. Great.
And nearby, Alex, I'm sorry about your face, Maya. I do imagine that is taking up the preponderance of your mental resources. But if we pretend for a moment that something else has to be the most important issue facing you right now, which would you pick? Missing Schmendrick, burning building, Newberry child?
I'm not thrilled about the building, so let's start there. But more importantly, the appearance of Jason fucking Newberry's Childa is honestly making the face thing feel less bad.
Wow. What's the opposite of not a backhanded compliment, but a front-handed insult?
You know when you're in a lot of pain and then something shows up to distract you? That's where we're at right now. Because the only thing that's going to distract me from the fact that I'm missing half my face right now is murdering the Childa.
Well, we'll get to that in just a moment. Ivy, as the one who, I don't want to go on record as saying it, but you do usually have your shit more together than other people, at least compared to the rest of this room. You are the most level-headed. What about you?
Well, I got my little outburst out of the way before this Malkavian, this supposed Childa of Jason Newberry showed up. So I'm a little more level-headed than I was about 30 seconds before. But, wrenches, best laid plans, all of that. So when she introduces herself, I don't immediately react because I'm just kind of standing there dumbfounded. Like, is this a joke? Are we being pranked? What is happening right now? And she's not making a move to attack us or anything like that, which I would kind of assume that Childa would do. So it's, I find myself confused.
Can join Alex in that corner. Anastasia, you've gone through a tremendous amount of effort tracking down Miss LaRoux, Miss Lugasi. The Brewhaw gentleman is a surprise, but whatever, he's in their company. So many nights spent listening to the man in your head give you instructions. So many nights spent following them from place to place, trying to see where the best place to catch them would be. And now you stumble upon them like this.
These guys look like a bunch of weirdos.
Well, for one, you don't know the half of it. Second, was this the right night? Was this the right decision? Do you have the right people?
Honestly, I feel like this probably worked out because it was meant to work out this way. And maybe this was just meant to be. I mean, these guys obviously need a lot of help. And maybe I could help them too?
That does seem to be the way that the coterie makes new friends. Have a need, make an unlikely ally. Wouldn't be the first time. I would be remiss, though, if I didn't ask that same question in reverse. Ivy, Maya, Jason Newberry's Childa is here, and whether or not you believe her, it's possible, is it likely? I don't know the answer to that question, but whether or not you believe her, the fact that she alleges such demands a certain consideration. So as the dumbfoundedness on Ivy's face falls away, Maya, as you distance yourself more and more from the wound on your face and anchor yourself back in the reality moment, what is that reaction like? And hey, not for nothing. I mean, I know there's player storyteller confidentiality, but when I asked her what was going on with you, she's like, these guys are a fucking clown show.
I'm gonna kill her. Listen, if she's actually Jason fucking Newberry's Childa, we'll find out in the Diablerie.
That's one way of getting that information, surely.
As soon as my brain registers that this is actually, potentially, Jason fucking Newberry's Childa, even if she's not, it's a problem I don't feel like solving elegantly. I've already activated my arms of Ahriman, and I'll throw her against the van. You have 10 seconds to tell me why we shouldn't kill you right now.
All right, first things first, make a rouse check.
Well, that is a hunger gain, but that's fine. I'm technically full. I might get even more full in a second.
And then from there, I believe it is wits and oblivion.
Holy shit, 6 successes.
Well, Anastasia, I think it is safe to say you will not be escaping that grasp anytime soon. Maya turns her attention to you, and from the shadows come tendrils like arms, like tentacles, gripping you even though they only manage 2 dimensions at a time. You are hurled with not insignificant force against the side of the van, the metallic bang of your body slamming against it.
You have 10 seconds to tell me why I shouldn't kill you right now.
I squint my eyes at her.
5 seconds.
I heard you guys put my dad in the ground.
Technically, he's in torpor.
Tell me more.
Which means that he's not getting up anytime soon?
As Maya's right in her face, and obviously this person is not responding at all to these threats, I'll step up and I'll just put my hand on Maya's shoulder and lean in and whisper, maybe we shouldn't do this. And I gesture to the parking garage, where people could potentially see us. Can we maybe have this conversation, I don't know, literally anywhere else?
Do you think I give any fucks what the kind think right now?
No, I'm very aware that you don't, and that is part of the grander problem, I'm sure. But look, can we at least get in the car?
I give a long look to Ivy. Fine.
Look, if you're so worried about her, stick the puppy on her. Make him play guard dog. It'll be fine.
Fuck it, let's go. I'll let the arms drop.
Well, that solves one problem temporarily. Just as quickly as they appeared, so too do the arms of Ahriman dissipate. It's not a gentle lowering you back to the ground, Anastasia, but you'll make your way there all the same, with the assistance of a little bit of gravity.
I brush off all the dirt and dust, and I straighten myself up. I look at everyone squarely in the eye, and I say, all right, what's up?
Look, you have adopted a very interesting attitude for somebody who is very obviously on the wrong side of, and I turn and point at Maya, her attitude. So why don't you go ahead and do me a favor and get into the van before I have him, and I point at Alex, put you into the van.
And if I put you into the van, there will be a U-sized hole through it. So maybe we should just all play nice and just let this night go by.
Okay. I look at them both, and I sideways shuffle to the other side of the van.
Well, I'm sorry, Alex. It does not look like you'll be having the opportunity to demonstrate your strength again this evening. But as the coterie +1 piles into the van, I am obligated to ask 2 questions. First of all, who is driving? And second, where is everybody else sitting?
I drove here. It only makes sense that I would drive out of here.
Makes sense to me.
Due to multiple circumstances, I can neither drive nor sit in the passenger seat right now.
No, that would make a very interesting red light camera picture, wouldn't it?
To be fair, all red light camera pictures of me are monstrous.
Point taken. Alex, Anastasia?
I go towards the passenger seat just by default.
Feeling that my job is now to be the guard dog, I'm going to sit behind this new vampire because she may have a few seconds to make bad choices, but I will have fewer seconds to separate her head from her neck. Where is this coming from?
Yeah, they put all that effort into teaching you how to not look like yourself and what it's like to feed. They did not cover how to come down from the murder high.
Chase that.
Yeah, no, it's got some pep to it.
Piquant. That's a good adjective.
Piquant. I like that. I am going to start using that word. Piquant.
So it is then. Ivy behind the wheel, reaching up to turn the large key against the bare console. It's certainly not decorated the way yours is or possessed of the same accessories, but it'll have to do. Maya in the back, which gives you the perfect view of Alex's attentive glower. And Anastasia, you're the one I cannot quite put my finger on. So you take a seat, but to this point, your attitude has struck me as a little laissez-faire. So is this a kick your feet up on the dashboard moment? Or do you fiddle with the radio? What's the move here?
It is absolutely putting my feet up on the dashboard and leaning back with my arms crossed.
Get your feet off the dashboard.
It's more comfortable this way.
I do not care. Get your feet off the dashboard.
I really want to stretch my legs.
I no, first off, I know that it doesn't matter because we're vampires. So, legs off the dashboard.
You are such a buzzkill.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Right, Maya?
Oh, buddy.
It's in the middle of this conversation that you will be interrupted with a tap on the glass. It seems you've forgotten one passenger. Annika, Dusable's ghoul, a tool of Clan Tremere. I would say she's polite about it, but given the circumstances, the look on her face is less, excuse me, miss, and more, what the fuck?
Right, right. Actually, what's your name?
Anastasia.
Anastasia. Great. Why don't you go in the back? Because my friend here, actually, I want her to sit in the front with me. Thanks. That'd be great. Thanks.
So I get out of the van and I go to the other side where the sliding doors are. And I make a move towards the back. And I gesture towards Alex. You're the guard buddy, right?
Yep. You lead. And make sure you don't do anything stupid.
That's cool. I like leading.
I'm not 100% sure that Alex understands how being a guard works, but there are so many things that we have to attend to this evening. I think that lesson can wait until later. But the engine is roaring. The passengers are seated. Annika arriving in the passenger seat. Not much more to say on the matter. As a ghoul, she's used to the kindred taking charge. Ivy, you're behind the wheel. Last I checked, you are a kindred. What are we doing? We have to go somewhere.
Yeah, we do. And obviously, Schmendrick's place is kind of out of the question. And as loath as I am to admit it, unfortunately, the Ducheski manor is the best place for all of us right now. It's safe, and even though I don't want Maya anywhere near it, it also has everything I need for the ritual I'll soon be conducting. So, makes sense to me.
Oh, we're going straight for that, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, how else are we going to prove that she is who she says she is? Without,
No, you are right. It's certainly less involved than Maya's plan. Is this an announcement you share with the rest of the class, or is this a situation where the van just starts rolling and everyone else can deal with it?
Definitely the latter. And if anybody but Anastasia asks, I will answer. But if Anastasia asks, not really inclined to answer her questions right now.
I don't really care about where we're going. I just assume it's part of the deal. So I reach into my pocket and pull out a bit of string and I tie the ends together. I make a cat's cradle and then I offer it to Alex.
I'm dying to know what Alex thinks of this.
I take my eyes off the road for a bit to look over at the cat's cradle, the strings between her fingers, and I look up at Anastasia. Oh, sorry, I don't knit. I'm not a good knitter. And I turn back to watch the road.
It's a game, silly. Pinch the two strings.
Ooh. Strings are games?
It can be.
Okay.
I explain in great detail how the esteemed pastime of cat's cradle is played, and then I offer the game to Alex once again. Look, I don't know how long this ride is going to take, so we might as well do something, right?
Yeah, it's probably better than a game of Punch Buggy. Although, if I'm being honest, I think I would kick your ass at Punch Buggy, because I only have to win once. But that being said, I will give this a shot. So I just pinch these 2 strands here, or do I put my whole hand in? How does this work? I know you just told me, but I need, my first time and all.
Before we get too far, I think this is a question we can answer mechanically. Alex, I will let you decide, based on the way you're approaching this, to roll either wits and dexterity, if you're being, I hesitate to use this word, intellectual about it, or dexterity and craft, if you're taking a more homegrown approach.
I think it's safe to assume that I'm a hands-on kind of guy. I'm a very hands-on vampire. I'm going to be doing this with craft and dexterity. That is 0 normal successes and 1 hunger success. It is a bestial failure.
Oh, could any result be more narratively appropriate? Here's the thing, friend Alex. You are hyped up from having committed violence. There was fire. There was a threat to your vampiric existence. Somebody challenged you to a duel of brawn, and you triumphed. The triumph doesn't make those desires go away, though. It only heightens them. So now you are presented with a second challenge, a second puzzle. And I don't know if Anastasia meant it this way, but there's a certain smugness about the way that she presented this to you, as if she knew you were going to fail and was waiting to embarrass you in front of these people, or just demonstrate her own superiority. And there's a part of you, an alien part of you, a toothy part of you, that will not abide such a thing. It wasn't that many nights ago where you had a similar feeling, and if I recall, it ended with you hurling Ivy across a scrapyard. I would appreciate it if you didn't act out that way now, but also it's not really up to me, is it? It's up to the beast. So do us all the great favor of explaining how your bestial need to dominate comes out of this game of Cat's Cradle.
As the fabric gets interwoven between my fingers and then latched around my wrists in my pure lack of focus, and the rage begins to build as this puny little string has dared to bind me. My muscles begin to grow taut as I snap them from my wrists and just rend the string into little tassels to just fall dead in the air, and my shoulders begin to raise and haunch as I look this new vampire in the eyes, and I say, "Listen, new girl, if you ever try to challenge me again, you will 1v1 me, you little shitter, and you will do it like a fucking man. If you use string one more goddamn time, that will be the noose that I hang you from across the bridge with. Do you understand me?"
It's just a game, buddy. But, okay. I get it. Not really your thing.
Everything's a fucking game, and I win, because that's what I was born to do. What was that? No. Don't you fucking let you get away with that. No. We're gonna do this. Boxing gloves, the ring. We're gonna fight. I just met you, and I want to break your fucking face in.
Calm down, Rocky.
I mean, I think so does Maya, in fairness. I call out from the front seat, but I lock eyes with Anastasia if she catches me as I'm speaking, and I just say, just apologize to him so we can move on.
I take a breath, I let it out, I look at Alex, and I say, super sorry you feel that way. I guess we just can't play games together.
Classic Ivy non-apology.
You're going to actually want to apologize to him? I say as I see the shoulders kind of raising a little bit more.
Whatever.
With that, my hand reaches up your neck, takes you by the chin, turns your eyes into mine. The minute we make eye contact, I thrust you against the side of the car. I get my eyes right into yours with a stern and furrowed brow, and I say, "You will apologize to me. and you will make it very genuine, and you will make it very nice, because my hand is already in the one place it has to be to make it so you never have to apologize again, because you will not have a mouth to do that with. Do you understand?
I'm sorry that I asked you to play a very innocent game and that you couldn't handle it.
Oh, no.
Ivy, I think at the rate things are going, you're going to have to pull the car over.
I was kind of leaning that way when he pushed her up against the side of the car, but as soon as she says that, no, you're absolutely right. I'm going to pull over because this is not going to be great.
Well, Ivy, Maya, you have a difficult time estimating Anastasia's size based on her oversized clothing and generally baggy demeanor, but that is something that Alex will quickly solve, as you see his hands going to grip various parts as if he is about to tear your new guest asunder. Maya, I know you're not opposed to that plan on principle, but I can't imagine you're going to let the violence just happen. Also, Ivy, eyes glued to the rearview mirror, unsafe driving conditions happening. What's going on with the two of you as this unfolds?
To be quite honest, I haven't flown or traveled economy in a very long time. And right now, I'm getting this distinct feeling of when you get into an airplane and you can hear the two people who sit behind you find out that they're from the same podunk, back-ass Midwestern town that has 3 people in it, and they're gonna talk the entire flight.
I don't know that I'm familiar enough with that experience. Does it often end in violence?
Boy, do you want it to sometimes. Either way, I turn to Anna and Alex. Would you two please shut the fuck up? I've had a very bad night. It's only getting worse. And right now, I don't see any problem with kicking you both out of the car and letting you deal with the authorities on your own. So, why don't we shut up? Because Mommy's very tired right now.
Alex, I am not going to wade into the who is mommy and who is auntie conversation, but we have established that both Maya and Ivy are figures of authority, so to speak, in your life, your own life as it is. The beast is fickle and irrational, but it also has its own survival instinct. And there has to be some part of your clear-thinking brain that realizes ripping Anastasia limb from limb would create new complications, in addition to earning the ire of Maya, who is, plainly tired of this shit, and Ivy, who you've never seen mad, but you've wondered about it, haven't you? So what I would like you to do, for my sake and also for Anastasia's, would you roll willpower for me?
I have a pretty good amount of resolve. My willpower is pretty high. Hopefully I don't fuck this up. We'll see what happens. That is 3 successes.
Just barely enough to get the job done. That means Miss LaRoux will not be making a drive check to see if she can pull to the curb before you hurl Anastasia out the car, whether or not you open the door first.
Coming back into my senses, having the beast placated a bit and put back into its cage, you can see my kind of tense triangle of haunched shoulders and back slowly begin to deflate, and my hair that's almost standing on end like a lion's mane is starting to kind of fall naturally. My eyes go from this dilated largeness to the normal size of Alex's doughy dumb eyes as I look into this new human person, vampire person, that I've just met, and I realize my hand is around their throat and jaw, and that's not something a man is supposed to do to a lady he just met. So I immediately recoil my hand, and a look of I did a bad thing just crosses my face as I look to her, and I say, you know what? That's unexcusable. I overreached with my hand, literally. So thank you for the cat's cradle game. I will strive to get better at it. So one day I can beat you in a game of strings. I will buy you a new string, and we are just gonna have a great rest of the ride to the house. Nice to meet you. I don't do anything, you know, because I'm still guarding you.
It is so important for me to know the face you're making as this unfolds, as you watch it.
Until now, I've just been pinching the bridge of my nose. I know that vampires don't really get headaches in the same way, but somehow my body has figured out how to have a tension headache from everything that has happened so far. And as the baby vampire apologizes for not knowing how to play cat's cradle, you just hear a thunk and then a second thunk as I start slowly hitting my head against the window.
Ivy, I'm assuming you're not taking your eyes off the road until the car has come to a stop, which means you have a few seconds to witness this in the rearview mirror, and the van rumbles to a gravelly stop on the curb of this road. You're on the south side of Chicago, so there's places you can park and pull over. It's not like a country road. Your gaze traveling from left to right as you look over your shoulder, passing over Annika, who has a mortified look. She's used to vampires being in control. She's used to the Tremere being calm, cool, and collected. What she's witnessing now does not bring the greatest credit upon the clan and House Tremere. I want you to understand that she is as professional as ghouls come, so when she gives you that look, even though there's only a pinch of it there, imagine how much it had to build up to escape her self-control.
I just give her a knowing nod. Because, yeah, no, this is not what I signed up for either, if I'm being honest. I don't have to say anything to her. Just the nod will do.
If nothing else, further questions would require an act of willpower that she's not willing to muster, given the volatile situation in the back of the van. It is worth noting, though, she is your regent's property. Who knows what she might have to say? But it seems that we have diffused the Bruja-shaped bomb in the back of the van. As far as I can tell, Anna, have you learned your lesson at this point? Are you going to wind back the antagonism of your Bruja friend at least long enough to make it to the house? Or is there yet mischievous energy inside you?
I put my feet up on the seat in front of me, and I lean back, and I just pull out another piece of string that I've tied together, and then I start making star shapes with one hand as I stare out the window.
Being careful, I hope, to not let Alex see. Well, unless there are further conversations that you are dying to have right now, we can say that the trip proceeds without too much further incident. If you were heading to the Chantry, that would be a short drive. It's on the same side of town. Alas, you are not. Crossing through downtown, that means getting on the Kennedy Freeway, cruising through the urban core of Chicago on one of its many elevated highways, before taking a ramp off onto a side street and on then towards the manor. Maya, you've seen this building before. Alex, Anastasia, this will be your first time seeing the Gilded Age mansion, not maintained as well as you would expect of famous architecture. It's a two-story Gothic affair, vaguely Munster's Addams Family looking, considering the paint and the overall state of the building. There's a beautiful conservatory on the right side, which is also adjacent to the driveway that Ivy will be pulling up into. Ivy, I'm assuming you're in a bit of a rush to get people inside, which means straight through the gate, up the driveway, park, and then, last time we were here, this is where you gave Maya the speech. Is there time for another onboarding session? The house rules, as it were.
To save time, knowing that I would like to get everybody inside as fast as possible, I would have been having this conversation leading up to the house, just in the couple minutes ahead of time. For Alex's sake, it's because I don't want him to forget the rules and, out of sight, out of mind. And I don't know Anastasia from Adam, so it's same principles apply.
Remind me and our listeners the bullet points of the Ivy's Manor rules.
The rules are actually quite simple. First rule, don't touch anything. Rule number 2, don't talk to anybody. And rule number 3, don't touch anything. Very short list.
Short enough that even Alex, with his brain filled with cat's cradle thoughts, can remember them on short notice.
Don't touch, do what told. Got it.
Good boy.
Well, from one good boy to another, as the van pulls into the driveway and comes to a stop, Grigor, of course, appearing in the doorway, coming out to bid his mistress welcome home. There's a bit of surprise on his face, unable to hide the shock of having seen so many guests.
I know. I know. Just get them inside, take them to the kitchen, take Annika to the sitting room.
Yes, of course, mistress. Is everything all right?
No, thank you for asking.
Very well. Will you be requiring the others? Shall I assemble the family?
Not right now. No. We need to formulate some plan. I might, but right now, no. Thank you.
Of course. And I'm sure you only skipped over this because of the sense of urgency. Which one is Annika?
Right. No, of course, you have no reason to know. And I'll lean in a little bit closer and point in Annika's direction and say, she's the Regent's ghoul. So if you would.
Ah, yes, of course. Well, then I will see she is quite well attended to. Thank you, mistress.
Thank you, Grigor.
Grigor then crosses in front of the van, giving both Anastasia and Alex an opportunity to witness him in his full, tall, emaciated glory. The Ducheski are known for a great many things, physical prowess not among them. So as this wraith-like man opens the door in a very formal way, the kind of stuff you have to be trained for, you hear him reaching out to Annika with a depth in his voice. Young mistress, if you'll accompany me. Annika casting her eyes to Ivy for a moment.
I'm going to get everybody here settled, and I'll join you in the sitting room very shortly, Annika.
She nods. There's a bit of hesitation, but she knows better than to defy kindred. Grigor will escort her through the home to the room as ordered. Annika, unlike Anastasia, will make that with no commentary along the way. Speaking of Anastasia and her commentary, you will exit the van in some order. The door leads into the kitchen. It is a very dark and cast iron affair, neglected, of course, because no one in this home has need of the cabinets or the stove or the fridge or anything like that. All the lighting has that Edisonian look to it, thick filaments, bright orange glow. And despite that, the entire building is still a bit dark. It's old, it's rustic. You can see in places Ivy's been trying to put things together, but most of the furniture is well over 100 years old. This is a place out of time. It's hard to tell if you're walking into a Gilded Age mansion or a haunted house. It has vibes of both. Ivy, remind me, did you give instructions to the two of them? Or are we just filing into the house?
Oh no, I definitely gave them instructions as we were driving up. And once Grigor leaves, I turn and I say, that was very, very good. Following rule number 2. Let's see if we can also follow rule number 1. Don't touch anything.
I can say historically that rule number 2 has not been the easiest one to follow. Small sample size, only mine to think about so far. Alex, you know Ivy well enough to know the things she takes seriously. Everything she says has a bit of that serious edge, but contextually, this is her haven. You know how secure Schmendrick felt about hers and how you can copy some of those emotions onto Ivy. Obviously, it is a more stately place. It is occupied by Herman Munster, and based on your vampire knowledge, which at this point does rely a lot on movies, you can still get that Renfield vibe. I'm sure you can understand.
This is unfortunately a battle I will be having of being almost anxiously polite until I become bored with curiosity. So I will probably sit there at the table, kind of bongoing on said table, until I realize that I have probably been doing nothing for 30 minutes. I'm very bored, and this place is very new, and I'm wondering what's in that really big cabinet. I wonder if they have bodies there, or like something mundane like an ironing board.
It's not a cabinet, it's an elevator.
That's a fucking elevator?
Yes.
You have an elevator?
It's technically a dumbwaiter.
Is that like a...
That's not a personal attack, Alex, no.
Okay, I was confused for a bit there for a second. And but we need to... You have an elevator in your kitchen? How rich are you?
What you have to understand, Alex, is that Ivy is not a self-made man. This is all Daddy's money.
Not gonna play this game. Not gonna do it. Not tonight. Has Grigor returned from dropping Annika off at the sitting room?
Would it be convenient for you for that to be the case?
Very.
Then yes. He appears in the doorway, not willing to enter the room, as that would be intruding, but making sure you see him as he skulks there.
Grigor, can you take Alex and Maya, and I gesture towards the two of them, to the library, and then have one of the others bring down my chalice and my knife, please?
He nods knowingly. Very few reasons you would need that equipment, and of course it makes sense that you wouldn't want the others in the room. He proceeds then over to Maya first. He remembers her face. Miss Lugasi, if you'd be so kind to attend me to the library.
I just beckon to Alex and follow.
Well, easy as that, Ivy. It appears you've gotten what you wanted. You are alone with Anastasia in the kitchen. It will take some time for Grigor to make the necessary arrangements, summoning his family as he sees fit.
As everybody starts piling out of the kitchen, I'm digging through different drawers, pulling out this and that, putting away bowls and things that are just cluttering the countertop from the last time it was used. I reach down and I pull out a big white cloth and I drape it over the island in the center of the room.
I am looking around in complete fascination. I've never been in a residence this old. And I turn to Ivy and I say, "So what are we doing here?"
Well, you have made a very bold claim tonight, coming in and saying that you are the Childa of Jason Newberry. Now, of course, given my history, given my group's history, I can't just take something like that at face value, so I need to confirm it. And that's what we're here to do.
I'm telling the truth. Why would I lie? What would I have to gain from misrepresenting myself?
For representing yourself as the Childa of the Malkavian Primogen of the city of Chicago, you mean?
Well, fine. What would I have to gain from not saying that?
It's not about what you have to gain by not saying it. The point is that you've said it. So either it's true, which we'll find out, or it's not, which we'll find out.
Why not just take me at face value?
Why would I do that? I just met you. And your father, if he is your father, tried to kill me on several occasions.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it sort of appears that you guys repaid the favor?
By holding him accountable to the Primogen Council, and if I'm being perfectly candid, I don't think they're really holding him that accountable, because he's only in torpor, but...
I've noticed something here that I wonder if Ivy has picked up on. For someone who, presumably, will go with it for now, is Jason Newberry's child, she doesn't seem to have the clearest picture of who Jason Newberry actually is, about who a Primogen is, why that would be important. I think Ivy is mistaking a lack of knowledge for something else. Is it possible that rather than being snarky or malicious, Anna just doesn't actually know?
It's possible, I suppose. There is that universe in which that possibility is correct.
I would not presume to tell a Tremere how to conduct her research, but that does seem like a line of inquiry worth pursuing.
Okay, Anastasia, let's assume for a moment that I believe you, that you are Jason Newberry's Childa. You don't know what he did to us. You don't know why the whole city, including Maya and myself, would hate him. Hell, you barely know what a primogen is. Like, honestly, you are too cavalier about this whole thing. If a Ventru came in here spouting off this connection or the other, they'd at least have done their homework. And you haven't even done that. I'm willing to attribute that to just various Malkavianisms, but, like, do you see why I need to be sure?
Okay. You're one of those guilty until proven innocent types.
When Jason Newberry's involved? Absolutely, yeah. He burned a fucking hotel down.
Didn't you guys just burn down a building?
No, we didn't. Thanks.
It sure looked like you guys did.
Oh my god. What exactly are you doing here? Why exactly did you come and seek us out? Because the entire time that you have interacted with us hasn't seemed like there's a reason for you to be here except to give witty comments about how this night has gone or hasn't gone or what's happened to Maya's face. So before we dive into this, before I go through the trouble of all of this, why don't you tell me what it is exactly that you're hoping to get out of this interaction?
Look, I just know that my dad has been missing for a while, and I just want to get some answers, and I'll figure it out from there.
What answer do you want? He's in Torpor. Go talk to the Primogen Council. I don't have answers for you beyond that.
Okay, first off, what is the Primogen Council?
Oh my god, really? Really? You really don't know what the Primogen Council is?
How about, hypothetically, we just assume that I haven't left or been out in a really long time, and I'm just looking for my dad.
What do you mean you have, like... What are you talking about? I don't understand. Like, your dad is a Primogen. Your dad was on the Primogen Council.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
How can you be the child of a Primogen and not know what the Primogen Council is?
I mean, to my knowledge, I just exist. I don't really have any answers for you. It was just me and my dad for a very long time.
Okay, so why are you here, though? Why do you think that I have answers? Why do you think that Maya has an answer for you?
Oh, well, my dad told me to find you guys because you would know what I'm seeking.
How did he tell you to find us?
Just a voice in my head.
Oh. Like a voice?
Well, his voice.
No, because he's in Torpor, so he can't be communicating with you.
Look, lady, I know what my dad sounds like.
In fairness, Ivy, for someone whose job it is to develop new and exciting ways to use the blood to break the rules of reality, you've seen weirder things.
Yes.
It's not impossible.
Look, all I know is that he was staked, and given how much time has passed, I'm certain that he's in Torpor right now. So... last time I knew, there wasn't any way to communicate outside of Torpor, because that would be ridiculous. I mean, unless somebody's been feeding him while he's staked, and that I don't want to consider that either.
Somebody staked my dad?
Yeah, the Primogen Council, when they found him guilty of, crimes.
What an interesting thing to hear two people who are so sure of their version of the world suddenly realizing that something has to give. The two of you have very different realities that cannot possibly survive contact with one another. Only one of you can be right. Is Jason Newberry awake? Is he not? Is he talking to Anastasia? Maybe. It's not, it's implausible, but... And I think that eventually just leads us back to where we started, didn't it? At this point, there's only one way to be sure. First things first, we have to establish if she is who she says she is. Otherwise, you've got nothing more than another Malkavian on your hands. Which means it is narratively appropriate for the youngest Ducheski to arrive, the daughter, holding in her arms a bundle of tools, of objects. Ivy, why don't you describe for me what it would look like were someone to bring you a parcel of ritual objects?
Well, there's only 2 objects in Rosalia's hands. A matching pair of delicately carved cherry boxes with polished gold trim. She places the boxes, one next to the other on the island, and opens them up before taking a step back, revealing 2 artifacts nestled in a lush velvet lining. Inside the first is an ornate silver chalice. The cup itself has sacred geometry etched all around the outside and is obviously ritualistic in nature as opposed to decorative. It's also highly polished, both inside and out, and has been tended to a great deal, which tells you how important a ritual item this is to me. I take it out and inspect it to make sure there isn't anything left over from the previous ritual that could taint the results of this one. And before you say anything, no, it's not because I believe it was improperly cleaned before, or that I would even have a reason to think that. It's just part of my checklist. When I'm satisfied with my findings, I place the chalice down in front of its crate, close the lid, and move on to the next. The second one houses a silver dagger, one with a slightly curved blade and a beautiful mother-of-pearl handle. The hilt has these delicate silver strands wrapped around it, which are purely decorative, but there aren't so many that it would inhibit the usefulness of the mother-of-pearl. I go through the same routine as I did with the chalice, observing the blade from all angles to ensure its cleanliness. I set the dagger down next to its box and close the lid, taking the chalice and stepping aside so Rosalia can grab the chests and remove them from my space.
And she will, as is the way of things. That gives Anastasia some time to look upon the work. I don't know about you, but if someone approached me and started preparing by placing a knife and a goblet on the kitchen island, I would have questions.
Wait, what's all this? What are we doing here? What's going on?
I told you, we're going to find out if you are who you say you are.
And exactly how are you doing this?
With the blood?
How are you getting the blood?
I narrow my eyes a little bit in a genuinely confused manner and gesture very slowly towards the knife.
Look, I didn't allow myself to get dragged all this way, riding in your dumb van, to get cut open and killed by you.
Anastasia, if I wanted you dead, I would have let Alex kill you in the car. Or I would have let Maya do it in the parking garage. But you're here right now with this knife on my table because I don't want you dead.
Look, lady, how am I supposed to know what you're into and what you're not into? If you're just, super freaky.
As she continues to talk, I turn and I grab the boxes from the younger Ducheski, opening them back up and starting to place the items back inside. Fine. You know what? You don't trust me? Great, I don't trust you. You want my help? We're doing this. Either that or there's the door.
I am stunned by her response. And I turn to her and I say, look, I just don't know what's going on and what you're trying to do to me. What even is the ritual? Where you can just cut me open, check out my heart, let a crow eat it, and then it's going to speak poetry? 'Cause no, I'm not up for that.
Why do you think that's what would happen?
I've watched a ton of horror movies, and I have no idea what kind of kinky shit you're into.
And I close my eyes and hang my head and just reconsider so many choices of mine. No, Anastasia, I am not going to carve out your heart and feed it to a crow who definitely does not live here. I just need some of your blood. And I'll gesture towards the chalice. Enough to fill the cup.
Oh. Well, that's okay then.
Great.
I don't want any scars, though.
Oh my god, you're a vampire. You don't have scars.
I don't want to, have it be ugly. Make it look nice,
Oh my god, I am purposefully going to make it ugly now. And then it'll go away. Because you're a vampire.
Well, speaking of irritated expressions, I cannot imagine it is only Ivy giving one. Maya, you're not having the greatest day. And even on your greatest day, spending a protracted amount of time in close quarters with Alex Scott is not something you have ever looked forward to. It was only a few moments after being let into the house that he started getting distracted by all the things around him, whatever peace and quiet you were hoping to find in this library. I think it's safe to presume that is not the case. So the two questions that I have, first, Alex, what are you getting into? Because we know you're getting into something. And second, Maya, how by the grace of God have you not lashed out at this brouhaha yet?
It's a great thing I don't have to breathe, because I'm humming and hawing and sighing a lot, making a lot of noise. I'm very frustrated as my finger dances across all of these many books. There's no Dewey Decimal System at all here, and I have no idea where to find the action books. Clockwork Orange, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I would kill for a Goosebumps right now. I don't know what any of this is, but I'm not going to pull any of it out, because that's rude.
No, I think the closest you'll find to an action book is that one, History of the Popes, where they get into the Medicis in the 1450s. That's when things got a little wild, but even then, it's in German, and it's pretty dry.
Yeah, dry Germans aren't my bag. I just wish there was a number system so I know where I could find the good books and not the stuffy ones. Hey, Maya? Hey, Maya, you know books, right? Maya, you know books. Are these... Maya, where can I find the books with, like, plots? And not, like, plotting. I know, from what I've gathered from you two, like, plotting is a thing, and I retract my hand like an old Nosferatu movie, an old vampire film. Plotting.
I genuinely can never tell if you're being serious or not.
Thank you? But no, I'm serious. I mean, not deathly serious, just looking to kill some time with a book or something.
No, I get it, but this library isn't made for that kind of thing. I get the sense that this is reference only.
Oh my god.
I reach up and pull a copy of Local Flora and Fauna of Ancient Mesopotamia.
Not for nothing, at least that one has pictures.
Oh my god, I get why babies have iPads now. Oh my god.
If I had an iPad to give you, I would do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to regret this, but as I am on firing bored, like on fire how bored I am, Maya, would you like to talk to kill the time?
Generally, no. However, I get the sense that you are going to keep asking me questions. So fine.
Look, it's either that or you give me a ball and I bounce it against the wall like a prison inmate.
To be quite honest, I was wondering if I threw a stick, would you chase it? But I have none.
Ha 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 ha. Convenient for both of us.
You would, wouldn't you?
At this point, only because I'm bored and it's something to do?
All right, Alex. I have the feeling that you're not going to stop asking me questions until I start answering, so I'm going to give you a very important Canaanite lesson. Nothing comes to you for free. So you get to ask me a question, and I will ask you one in response. Got it?
Understood.
And because I'm polite, you can go first.
Oh, okay. Cool. So, Maya, are you from Chicago originally?
No. Alex, do you really think that you're a superhero?
Oh, wow. Just jumping 10 spaces. You know what? I don't know what to believe anymore. But I do know that I have strength that I've never had. I have feelings that I've never felt before, and I have loved ones that I can never see again.
In fairness, that is about 66% of puberty.
Well, I've been told I'm now a baby again, so my body and me, right? Just growing a second time.
Oh, if only it were that simple.
No, I don't think anything will be from now on. Second question. Maya, what's your favorite type of... what's your favorite type of blood?
You want a real answer?
Yes?
To be honest, I really miss cocaine.
Okay, so clarifying question. They make cocaine blood? Is that a thing?
If you know the right people.
Holy shit waffles. You mean to tell me there's a place that make... Wait a minute. No, I've seen some TV shows. You're talking about cocaine in someone else's blood, right?
There you go, buddy.
I'm learning.
Turnabout's fair play. What's your favorite kind of blood, Alex?
Dude blood. Guy, but wait, that didn't sound right. So I like fighting guys for their blood. That doesn't sound great when I say it out loud.
It doesn't, but I also don't believe you. Do you actually want your prey to struggle?
Yeah. I want them to challenge me. And then I want to take it from them. 'Cause I'm stronger. 'Cause they're weaker. 'Cause yeah. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm. Stronger.
But not women, though. I can't do that again.
I smell blood in the water, so I'll sit up and lean forward in my chair now. Did someone hurt their friend when they woke up?
No.
Mommy?
No. Just a total stranger. Wrong place, wrong time.
If Alex is not absorbed in his own drama and his own self-pity, he might see a very brief look cross my face.
Why is that?
You don't need to know. Not a huge fan of wrong place or wrong time people.
I was trying to stop a crime in progress, having no business being there. Came to find a giant metal container filled with women, young, innocent women that had been taken from their homes. And I tried to save them. It was then that I was sired, bit. I turned into this, and I woke up, like you said.
The Camarilla prefer the term embraced.
Embraced.
It's like telling someone their dog went upstate.
Right. Yeah, no, we talked about that when I went on feeding day. Yeah, anyway, so I found someone and I ate them too. I ate a bit too much. And it's not something I want to do again. Not her, not like that.
Did you eat meat in a former life?
Oh yeah. Burgers, steaks, fried chicken, you name it.
You know where that comes from, right?
Yeah, but generally speaking, I don't have an empathy for cows.
Why?
I don't know, 'cause the vegans make it annoying.
Valid.
I mean, like, they're always like, oh, they're out there in terrible conditions. They're pooping on their feet. They're dumb animals. They're farting and killing the environment. And I'm just like, I don't care. They're tasty. And they're dumb animals.
So kind of like humans.
I mean, when I was a human, I didn't think that was like humans.
So you're not human anymore.
I know a part of me wants to rise to every challenge and destroy every obstacle in my way, but at the same time, a part of me still has some of the old Midwest values knocking around. I don't want to take a life from someone. It's not my place to take it. And I didn't even know that I could eat without killing someone until feeding day. And that's on me. I gotta deal with that, I guess.
I mean, in fairness, you don't. You never had to. In fact, who told you did? There's never been a point where anyone said, you have to stop. We're apex predators. Have you ever met wolves, lions who just take a bite from a gazelle and walk away?
I mean, I think we've all seen Lion Hamlet to know what happens when you overfeed too much in your environment. And don't tell her I called her this. Mama Ivy did make a good point. You eat one whole person, that's one less person you can keep feeding from.
Overpopulation is a severe problem in this world.
That's their problem. That's not our problem.
Exactly. That's basically what I'm saying. Humanity has been spreading across the globe, consuming resources, destroying the planet. You don't think that nature has found a way to manage that source of agony?
Last I checked, this was supposed to be a curse. This was supposed to be something old and malign.
But you said it yourself. You've got superpowers now. You're stronger than ever. You're faster. I bet you could tear a person apart with your bare hands.
I did, and I killed a guy with your shoe. It was fucking dope.
Yeah, I'll bill you for that later. You know that feeling inside? The one that was in the van as well? That coiled rage?
Yeah?
That's your power.
Look, my whole life, on life previous, before this happened, my entire existence was understanding that I'm a product of the community I'm living in. That I have to protect it, even if that means protect it from myself. I am not a stranger to knowing what it feels like to know that every room I'm in, no one is safe there because I'm there. This is no different from that. It's just elevated. And living with that responsibility has taught me to act second, think first. If people have problems, it's their problems. It's my job to get involved when it's my job. Does that mean that I can maintain that forever? I don't know. Because there's a very real war going on in my head to hurt people every single day. And I don't want to be that guy. And if me being a superhero allows me to straddle that fence just one day longer, then maybe that's what I gotta do. I don't know how long I'll be able to hold it, but that's all I got.
That's so funny. You keep describing your former life and having to protect people from you. You're so wrapped up in the person you were when you were human. You're not, and you don't have to be. Not to mention, I don't think that Ivy has expressed this to you yet. But regardless of your little moral code, this heroic part in you that thinks that you need to protect the world from you, the rest of us are not playing that game. I didn't before I turned, and I don't have to now. You may be taking some sort of high road, being good and noble and trying to limit yourself, but no one is going to take the high road back. Especially not now.
Maya, my question. Do I get to choose? Do I get a choice?
You can choose whatever you want, but you should go in with the knowledge that if we know that you're going to be a man of honor, it's just going to be one more advantage for us.
Okay. Maya, today I ripped a whole man in half with my bare hands. Something past Alex couldn't even hurt him with a punch. And I killed what I'm pretty sure was another vampire with one of your shoes. And I enjoyed it. I may be struggling along to figure out what the hell I'm going to be, but I know one thing's for sure. If the only way to ensure safety for myself and those around me is through violence, that's not new for me. And if someone wants to take my kindness for weakness, I'm going to rip their spine out of their back like I'm pulling a shoelace from a shoe.
I just want to stress to you, in between all of these declarations of heroics, that not everyone is playing the same game you are. Ivy doesn't. Not really. I certainly don't, never have. I've never had to care about keeping innocents alive here. I have to do what I do to stay in control. You know that feeling you got in the car when you got really upset at a piece of string? Ride that. That feeling that your purpose is to dominate over the weaker things. That's what keeps you alive. None of this chivalry, none of the, oh yes, I'll step aside and let you walk all over me. Because like I said, as soon as we find out we can, someone is going to. The Camarilla are very, very good at pretending that they're noble and care about each other's feelings, and that they want to work together and steward the kindred in a sort of weird coexistence. But they want just as badly to dominate each other. But it's all the same shit. Everyone wants to be on top. And regardless of the flowery words, calling it a pyramid, calling it your Primogen Council, your princes, it's all the same fucking shit. Everyone just wants to be on top, so they no longer have to be taking orders.
Alex, how are you internalizing what Maya is telling you?
There's definitely a conflict, as before in my mind. Maybe the old Alex, maybe the new Alex, just two halves, shoulder angel, shoulder devil, just playing badminton with ideas. On one hand, I can't help but feel like there's some moral wrongness there, a selfishness, a greed, a fear. But on the other hand, from everything I've experienced, seen, and heard so far, this may become the new precedent. This may become the new reality. And dear God, this may become the new morality. And maybe if I'm going to survive, I may have to figure out what that means for me, what I need to do, what I need to be.
The two options have been fairly clearly articulated. Ivy says you have to resist what you are in order to protect yourself. She's speaking of the Masquerade. She's speaking of the attention that comes to vampires when they slaughter their way through humans and so on and so forth. And Maya says no, you have to take that urge to dominate, wear it like a cowl, dress up in it like armor, to protect yourself from the other vampires.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, eating willy-nilly, creating violence all over the place, that does not even a vampire society make. We have no food, we turn to ourselves, we eat each other. We have no infrastructure, we just do as we will and please, and then it's only by the word of the strongest do we go on, leaving very little left. If we are to thrive in any society, then we must create rules of engagement of that society, which must be respected, because when they become too powerful, too unbalanced, it must seek balance within itself, rise up, and either take the top out or crush down and remove the bottom and leave nothing left. So engaging in this doesn't make any sense, but it feels good, but it can't work.
In fairness to Maya, she never said anything about eating your way willy-nilly, about flaunting your powers in public. She just said, instead of being afraid of how powerful you can be, instead of wallowing when you've achieved some level of supremacy over another creature, you can let that guide you. There's room for discretion in every kind of plot and path, right? But perhaps that's something you will have to investigate with her a little more carefully as the nights go on. On the topic of conversations people are afraid of, I believe we've reached the part of the explanation process in the kitchen where Ivy is holding a knife. But that is a ritual the outcome of which will have to remain a mystery. Because when it comes to the secrets of Anastasia's blood and our coterie's reaction to the information hidden therein, that's a story for another night.
You've been listening to The All Night Society, an actual play podcast brought to you by Queen's Court Games. If you've enjoyed your stay, consider supporting us on Patreon for access to exclusive art, audio, and private fan-only games. For more content, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok at Queen's Court Games, or on Twitter at Queen's Court RPG.